Hi guys, just wanted to take you through a bit of a video around advanced report creating in CD3. Um, so what we've got here is a user's created a report which is the HSC band distribution by course and by year. But what they would like to do is add the diocese specific data in as well. So they've gone ahead, created this report, and want to add a few more attributes in. So the way that we can do this is go to edit the report, edit the data, and as you can see, when they first created the report, it was off the HSC state band view, so the state band comparison view. But what we want to do is add some diocesan specific data. Now that is not in this particular view, so we need to add another view in. So the way we can do this is add a subquery, and we would like to append some data. We can also union and minus and intersect. In this example, we're going to stick to append, and what it's doing is adding new columns vertically into the subquery. So we're going to, instead of creating a basic one, we need to go to advanced. Basic allows you to create additional attributes within the same data set. We want to bring in a new data set. So we click on advanced, and we always select the federated data mart in this case. And the view that we would like to do is the student HSC view. And we just click OK there. So the first thing we want to do is start linking up some of the attributes within the master query to the subquery. So we're going to link up the calendar, the band description, and the course name. Normally we'd probably do course ID just in case there's the same name with different IDs. We're also going to, on the left hand side, drag in the attributes from the subquery that we're creating. So we're going to join calendar year to HSC year. We're going to join band description to band description. And then finally, we're going to join course name to HSC course name. And you can give this subquery a name as well. Instead of append one, we might give it diocese data. So we know that this is comparing the diocesan data. Alright, we can minimize these and save that. Now you'll notice that there's two queries on the left hand side here. These attributes in the rows and columns are grayed out because they come from the first query. So what it's asking us now is really to add some new attributes in for the second query. So the attribute that I'd like to add in is to count the number of students in a course for a school. So I'm just going to add that in. So you just click on it, drag it over to the rows. And we get the state data, but now we also get the student data as well. Again, you can see the other ones are grayed out, the other attributes, but this one's now more of a bright color to indicate that it belongs to this query. Next thing that we'd like to do is format some of this up. So what I'm going to do is change the student headcount to a name of diocese. I might just call it diocese headcount and abbreviate that, and this one's a bit long as well, so I'm just going to change that to state headcount. Alright, so I've got my two metrics here, but you'll also notice what we've got on the left hand side is some filters. So it's important when we're adding subqueries to also link filters if we want the subquery and the master query to filter appropriately. And the way that we can do this is simply by, on the left hand side, we're going to drag the same sort of attributes across. So we're going to drag the band description in because we've got band description up here. We're going to find the calendar year. In this case, it's called HSC year. And we're also going to find the course name and drag that one in too. You can order these around. Personally, I like the calendar year at the top, probably followed by the course name and then the band description next. So we'll just tidy that up a little bit. Next thing we need to do is click on the advanced settings. And at the moment, we've just got a pick list, so we don't want that. What we want to do is only select these things once, which will come from the master query. So what we need to do is for the HSC year, we're just going to click on link to filter, and we're going to define the link, and it's going to go to the calendar year, which is in the master query. And I'll just go through and do that for the other ones as well. So this time we're clicking on course name, and then the last one we're linking the filter, and we're linking it back to the band description. All right, so that's done. And then the other thing I have noticed as well, when I go to click on these filters, they're not using a cache filter. So I've sort of got to click it and it doesn't give me any information. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tidy up the filters as well. So I'll click on calendar year, and I'm going to change this to a value list selection, and then I'm just going to click on this refresh cache. I don't want it sorting ascending, I want 2017 at the top, and I'm also going to select a default filter of 2017, and I'll just go through and do that for the other ones as well. So I'm going to refresh that and click on that and refresh that. So I'll close that. Alrighty, so this report's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm going to navigate back to the master query, and there was one more change that was required for this report. What they needed was a second section for standard courses and extension courses. So what I'm going to do, I can do this via a band grouping. So I'm going to pull in the band description in again. So you'll see along the top, we've got two band descriptions, but in this case, what we're going to do is change the way this one works a little bit. We're going to group it. The way we can do that is just by clicking on this, and what we're going to call this is standard, and we're going to select bands 1 to 6. We're just going to click on this thing and say that it's in this. So basically, anything 1 to 6 is going to fall under the standard group, and we click save. We're going to add another group. We're going to call that extension. We're going to do an in list, and we're going to select E1 to E4, and we're going to click save. And you'll notice that we've now got standard and extension as headers, but what they wanted was that in the section area. So I'm going to change the name of this, and I'm going to call that band groups. Just close that down, and I'm going to drag it over to the left-hand section. Just make sure you get that little plus button. So you can see this is a section now, but it's not a tab section, which is what I prefer. So I'm going to format that. I'm going to change it from a single page to a tabbed. Close that down. You'll notice that the filters in the header are coming up twice as well. I'd like to tidy that up so it only comes up once. So it's coming up once for the master query and once for the second query. We're going to click on the filter button in the HSC year. I'm just going to turn the legend off for the subquery filters as well, just so we don't get that duplication. Alright, so that report's looking pretty good now. If I want to test it, I might just go to the output, click on the filters and click go. You can see it's going to run for 2017 because that's my default. Looking good. I've got my calendar year, my course name, I've got the band descriptions, and I've got the 1 to 6 falling under standard, but I can also see that there's E1 to E4 falling under standard with no data. So we might want to clean that up, but if we click over to extension as the second tab, we've got 2017, the course name, the band, state headcount, and diocese headcount. You can see that the 1 to 6 is blanks because there's no data associated with it, and then we've got E1 to E4 coming up. So there is a little trick to clean that up a little bit. So what we're going to do is click on the report formatting, And there's an option here under columns, display the same field names in each section even if they have no data. We're just going to flick that to the other way. So we're only going to display the field names in the section if they have data. So we'll close that down and see what effect that has. So you can see now under the standard we only have 1 to 6 displaying, and then under extension we've got E1 to E4. So it's just a quick way of identifying that. The other thing I might want to do is just swap around the diocese head count and the state head count. The way I'll do that is go back to data, and I'm just going to drag that to the left of the state, and you can see that the diocesan head count is first and then the state head count is second. So perfect. I think that's all that we need to do for this report, and it's ready to go. So let me give it one last test. And that's it. Perfect. Report complete.